Hi all! Today I want to show you another method of how I plant a lot of my vegetable plants. You can do flowers this way too. This way you can move them or just make sure that they're getting the water. When you're watering it, the plant gets it. Here, I'll show you this as I cut my pots. If you were dealing with gophers, if you were dealing with problems like that, you can take a pot, cut out these slats. Now what I'm going to do, as I love colored leaves, I'm going to stuff this with colored leaves. You can use anything you want, and some other yellow and browning leaves from the garden. Now I'm going to fill this with broken down wood chips, or you could use potting soil. And then what you want to do is put this in the ground on top of the dirt. Find the place that you want to grow tomatoes and put about that much of the pot in the ground. This way, as the tomato, let's say I'm using this for a tomato plant. So as the tomato plant that I plant in here grows, the roots are going to all come through the bottom. What I really like about this is as my plant is in here, especially during the hot summer, and I water in the pot, I know 100% fact that this plant is getting water. I know that because it's got to go somewhere and it's going to go straight down to the roots. Now, once it leaves the pot, it could go anywhere. There could be cracks in the ground, underground, and the water will disperse. But the point is, when I water this plant, whatever plant I put in here, and this is sitting, let's say, an inch to, you could do it as deep as you want. You could drop this pot 4 or 5 inches in the ground. I know for a fact when I go through, I can use a watering can, I can use a hose. I know that this plant is getting water. So now I'm going to fill this up, put different things in it, and I'm going to get this in the ground with a tomato plant. Be careful when you're cutting the bottoms of the pots. So I've cut another one here. I've got this one ready to go too. I've got another way I'm using this one. Just don't hurt yourself. And now if you wanted to, you could pop the whole bottom out and you could, put a piece of wire. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to do it this way, but you could do that. And there's one other way you could do it. You could always use a wire basket. Pop the bottom out and plant the plant in a wire basket. But then you've got the expense of your basket for $1, $1.50, wherever you found it. And eventually they do rust out, but they will last a couple years. I will tell you, the wire baskets, these trash cans, they do last a couple years. And there's that basket you can get from the 99-cent store, but these, which you can get from different stationery type stores, they use these, I guess, in offices and stuff. This is heavier. This will last many, many, many years. So it depends on how much money you want to spend. I get a lot of mine only really from the 99-cent store new. But when it comes to the big ones, I pick these up at the thrift stores. And then you could dig that in the ground and practically put anything in there to keep gophers out if you have a gopher problem. I also use them here because I really don't have a gopher problem up in my garden here. So I use them to cover newly growing plants. Like some of my zucchini coming up or different things. Some of the rodents come by and they want to chew on it. So I let them get a good start and I cover it. And then once they're got some size to it, they got a good, enough size, and I just pull them off and keep them around and use them for something else. But the small ones do really, really good too. I use that all over. Even over here, I put it on top of some mint, and look at that. The mint's growing through it. I had a problem with the rabbits eating that mint. So now they can't get to the main part of the plant, and they don't want to bother climbing on top to eat the mint growing out. I even use the basket sometimes to collect my tomatoes off my plants a little early if it's hot. But for me, I'm happy right now to do this. I've had the pots in my yard now for 3 years, and they're going strong. And if they crack, I just replace them. But for a season, for a tomato, it's going to be perfect. So let's get this one that's all ready now. It's a little bit bigger than the other ones. I get different sizes from the florist. And I'm going to get this one ready, and I'm going to get this in the ground with my tomato. So now I'm going to put the tomato plant in here. I put a little bit of broken down, well, it's broken down wood chips, but it's also been sifted. Stuff from the garden that a rabbit got into and ate. More leaves. I like layering leaves, celery, collard, kale, whatever was browning. A little bit more wood chips because the roots aren't going to be down there anyways. By the time the roots get down to that, this will be all broken down by the earthworms. Now I'm going to put some of the soil that was in the hole where I'm going to plant the tomato plant. With all the earthworms were in there. Going to take my tomato plant, keep the stake, the tag I should say. And this is one of those half-price ones I got, so it's a little bit root bound. But you know what? They make a good comeback. Going to take all the bottom pieces off. And that's because I can root these. I'm going to stick them in a cup of water or in some moist soil. Oh, I took all the tomatoes off, didn't I? No, I didn't. Wait a minute. I'm not sure. Yeah, I did. Didn't mean to take that one. No, I only had one tomato. I wanted to get a good start. Now I'm going to put this in there, a little bit more leaves around it. This will all break down. All the earthworms will come up. They'll just love it because they'll be eating all the breaking down leaves. So I got that left. And now some more of the native soil that was right there. But you can use potting mix. There's nothing wrong with using potting mix. You don't have to do it the way I do it. Everybody's going to have their own way. It's just that the soil was so rich and so good, I decided to go with that. And once I have this in the ground, I'm going to put some mulch on the top as well. I could remove some of these small ones down here too. That's it. Now we're going to go get this in the ground and we're going to stake this little guy up. I know that you're supposed to bring these home and take off all the tomatoes. I'm not going to do it right now. I might do it later. And these, I'll take this tomato off, but I'm going to root the bottom pieces. For now, I'll stick this there, and then I'll get this in the ground, in the pot, and this tomato plant, if all goes well, is going to take off the roots on the bottom, and it's going to go into the soil when it's ready. So this is the area that I decided I'm going to put the tomato plant in. The two bins that are composting in place, you probably can see them. There's one there, which I should uncover. My zucchini is quite big now. And there I'm starting some plants in there too. I'm going to put it right in the soil here. And that tomato plant is going to get fed by both. Both tubs are going to feed that tomato plant, yet that tomato plant's going to be in the pot. But you saw I sliced open the bottom, so the roots, as they go down, they will be going through the holes and going into the ground. So let's get that thing in the ground. I'm going to loosen up the soil, and I know you can't see it because the camera's not close enough, but this is full of earthworms, and the earthworms are coming because of this tub and the one on the other side. So this is going to be beautiful for the tomato plant to grow in, and yet it's going to be protected, the trunk of it, because it's going to be in a container, and it's going to get plenty of water because I'm going to want, look at that, it's just full of, they're all over. They're feeding on all the broken wood chips that are here. Oh, there's some down there. They're feeding on all the broken wood chips that are in here. They're feeding on all the leaves. See, I'm constantly throwing leaves right back in my garden. I don't clean them up because that's what it's for. It's supposed to go back. So let's go get that pot. I layer it. I put the leaves in there. Let's get that tomato plant planted and in the ground, and then we'll start to stake it up, and eventually I'll go on the fence. Now I'm going to put the tomato plant in here. It's going to live next to the lemon verbena. I'm going to throw, there's so many earthworms down there, I'm going to throw some more leaves down there. I'm going to sit the tomato plant in here, a little closer here so I can stake it when it needs to be staked. push all the soil back. Don't have to do anything else. And since I do have wood chips, I'm going to mulch all the way around. And this, so I don't lose it, is the tag, and it's a brown berry. And I'm going to stick it on the stake that I'm going to leave here for now. And now I know this is a brown berry. This needs just a drink right now. And hopefully this will just take off. I will not be moving it. I will not be taking it out of the pot. It's permanent. If a gopher came around right now, he can't get to the main roots, the big roots. He could chew on the feeder roots, but that's not what they're really looking for. So this plant is protected. It's going to be watered. When I water it, I know the plant is getting water. The roots are going to take off. It's going to feed off of this one. But this is how easy it is to plant in a pot, especially if you have gophers and even little insects. They're not going to come around. And sometimes it deters the rabbits, I've noticed. They don't know what this pot is, so they just go on their merry way. So with that, that's how easy it is to use pots in the ground and easy to water. Good here for Southern California because I know I can just water this. It's going to get water. If I water it in the ground, who knows where the water is going to end up. This plant's going to be watered. So I hope I gave you some ideas. That's the way I do it. Well, there's the pot I planted with that little tomato plant, which is now growing all up the fence and behind the fence as well, behind my squash. Bear with me, it's about 115, but I just wanted to show how it's doing. And I do have to stake it up. I didn't realize it got that big. And I have some more trimming to do back here of some more yellow leaves in the heat. But there it is, and it's done really well. Nothing's bothered it. It's just my bad. I haven't staked up the tomato plant, the brown berry. But there it is, and the black tubs are all overgrown with squash right now, which is doing great. So that's it. It's been about a month and a half, and I just wanted to show you what's going on with it. Have a great day. Don't forget to eat what you grow, and hopefully we'll see this on my garden tour, how it's doing. Bye-bye.